Hello folks, LA Little here, TA today. Today is the 12th, and we're doing this video, looks like about a couple hours before the market opens. NVIDIA, the AI stock world, right? They've been seeing this rotation where money is moving to other areas of the market and coming out of those to some extent. And so today you got AVGO, and AVGO Broadcom reported earnings last night, blew all the earnings away. You can see, just scrolling through here, big numbers. And what does the stock do overnight? Well, last night popped up, got up to about 424, and then sold off hard, got down to looks like about 82, 382. And so, the first thing is, if you're going to make a trade in something like this, the question is, what are you doing? Are you trying to trade this intraday, right? Or are you trying to trade some sort of a swing type trade? Or is this some sort of a long-term trade? What is it you're trying to do? That's the first question you always got to ask yourself, is like, what's my trade? And it can be a combination, it can be intraday and swing. You just have to keep it in your mind what you're trying to do, and because how you do it and where your entries are and how you trade it is a lot different depending on your time frame. So that's the first thing. The next thing is, what is this market telling you? And for that, you need to back up a little bit and pop up your charts and take a look at what the market is doing. And so if I just take all of these off, right, so that I have a clean chart, and let's take the support and resistance off as well. And now when we look at it, what do we have? Well, ignoring the charts first and just coming over here to the trading cube, I can see here that I've got bullish extended on the daily time frame. Quite extended, actually. Right? Let me get the color right here so you can actually see it. But very extended, right, on the daily time frame. 99. So that thing is like way beyond where it ought to be. And that's okay. It's just telling you it needs to break a swing point low at some point. And this is not a timing indicator. It's a kind of a warning, flashing warning sign. It's telling you this thing is at a point where the odds of it continuing to push higher and higher and higher without breaking a swing point low are getting lower and lower. And so, when you know that, then that tells you that where's your swing point low? Well, it's here. What is that price point? 370, roughly, 370.65. Where did it trade to last night? We were saying about 382. Where's 382? Well, it's right in here. They traded into this bar is what they did. That's got all the volume, wide price spread. That was where news came out sometime back that drove it higher. You can go back and look at that news, or you can just look at the chart and know that there was news and know that there was pressure to the upside. Where do you think support's going to be? Well, it's going to be on that bar, right? Initially, it's going to be on the top of that bar, and that's where you saw it trade to last night. But then later, they could get deeper, they could get into this bar some. And if they do, they're going to break this swing point low finally. And so that's a real possibility, is the swing point low breaking. Will it break today? Well, that would be a long push, it's 8% down or so. It's possible, but at the same time, my guess is you're going to see, this has been an extremely strong stock and still is. All of your extremes, extreme over here as well, but this can actually go to extremes and stay there. That's what I discovered many years back. Never could answer why, but it can happen. And I guess it just is a fact that, to break a swing point low, you got to have, if it's a strong stock, all you're going to see is swing point lows on the way up. And it can go for a long time when something extremely bullish has happened to the stock. Intermediate term time is the one to pay more attention to, and it's 50. So in other words, this can still go along more, quite a bit more time. If we go back to the daily here, if we come back now and we put in our retest regens, we can see that this has been tested one time already. If it comes back into this, that's going to be the second test. Odds are that it won't hold. Now, you'll probably get a lot of bouncing in here, which is great for day trades, but you still got to think that swing point low at some point is going to get broken, or it's going to set another swing point low, trade in a range for a while, and then break it, right, on a daily. And that would make sense, right? In other words, you've got tremendous support underneath here, right, with this guy. You've also got another one over here that intersects it, right? I doubt seriously it's going to get below those. So, that's kind of your back against the wall kind of thing right there. And so you can use that kind of knowledge just looking at your chart to figure out how to trade this. So going back to the question of what kind of trades are you making, if you're making a long-term trade and I'm looking at this bar, well, look at where it's at. It's inside that retest regen here. That's never been tested. That's going to get bought. If it got back to 364, it's going to get bought. That's a sweet buy for, a swing trade, which is this kind of time frame, or a long-term trade, either one. That is the sweet purchase area. Will it get there? We don't know. We'll have to see. That's going to take a little while to get there probably. It's possible it's today, but it's not likely. The more likely case is it's going to trade inside here today. So that gives you a range. Not inside here. This area is going to support it. But today it's going to trade. Let's go back and say it again. You've got a gap area here that's filling, right? So today you got this low, and you've got the low that's already starting this morning, which is down in here. So you're probably going to trade between those two extremes with a little slop on the bottom, probably nothing on the top. So maybe you're going to trade, worst case, you're going to trade about 375 maybe. And that's an extreme push. And on the top side, maybe you can get the 399 extreme. But more than likely, you're going to trade between about 380 and 394. And if you're day trading, that's where you want to be looking. So again, there's all kinds of ways to look at charts. But in each and every one of these charts, they're going to give you information. And when they give you information, you need to use it to make decisions about how to trade. And when I look at Broadcom and I look at the day trade, I want to buy this thing. I want to be a purchaser of this stock, for the trade. I don't want to be a seller more than likely. I tend to try to buy strong stocks. So when they're pulling back, even then I'll trade the long side of it. Why? Because, news could come out or whatever, and this thing could flip around, and then you're going to panic about what to do. You never want to put yourself in a panic situation. So keep the wind at your back. The wind is strong on this stock. So if you're going to trade it from the long side, just get good entries. If you like what I'm doing here, leave me a comment, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you next time.